Welcome, beloved friends, to Daily God's Promise, Day 16. Today, on August 16, 2025, we embrace a deeply personal promise from Genesis chapter 30 verse 23. And she conceived and bore a son, and said, God has taken away my reproach. Rachel, Jacob's beloved wife, carried the deep sorrow and shame of barrenness for years. Her exclamation in this verse is not just about a child being born. It's a cry of profound relief that God has seen her pain and actively removed her reproach. This promise is for anyone who has ever felt the weight of shame, guilt, or humiliation. 1. The weight of reproach for Rachel. Her reproach was the intense social and personal humiliation of being barren. In today's world, reproach can take many forms: the shame of a past mistake, the guilt of a secret sin, the disappointment of a failed dream, or the feeling of being a disappointment to yourself or others. This verse promises that God sees this specific, personal pain. He is not a distant, passive observer. He is actively involved in our lives and committed to taking away our shame. 2. The act of divine restoration. Rachel's declaration is not a passive statement of hope. It's an acknowledgement of a completed act. God has taken away my reproach. This is a powerful promise of divine restoration. God didn't just give her a son, He restored her dignity, worth, and honor in the eyes of her family and her community. He replaced her shame with joy, her humiliation with a blessing, and her barrenness with fruitfulness. 3. God's perfect timing. It is also important to remember Rachel's long period of waiting. God did not immediately answer her prayer. This highlights a crucial part of the promise. God's timing is not always our timing, but it is always perfect. The blessing of a child came at a time that made it undeniably a work of God. For those in a season of waiting, this promise reminds us that God is working behind the scenes, and when He moves, He will do so in a way that reveals His glory and removes your shame in a way that brings maximum joy and relief. 4. A promise for spiritual and physical barrenness. While this promise was a physical reality for Rachel, it holds a profound spiritual truth for us today. Many of us feel barren in our lives, in our relationships, our careers, our ministries, or our spiritual walks. God's promise is that He is able to remove this kind of reproach as well. He can bring life, purpose, and spiritual fruitfulness to the most desolate areas of our lives, and in doing so, He will take away our shame and restore our dignity. 5. Old Testament cross-references. God's restoration erases old shame, as in Isaiah chapter 54 verse 4. Do not fear, for you will not be ashamed. You will forget the shame of your youth. Trust in God replaces shame with joy, as Psalmist says in 34:5. They looked to Him and were radiant, and their faces were not ashamed. God changes both status and story, as in 1 Samuel chapter 2 verse 8. He lifts the poor from the dust, to set them among princes. 6. New Testament cross-references. God still removes shame in miraculous ways, as in Luke chapter 1 verse 25. Elizabeth said, "The Lord has taken away my reproach among people." Faith secures freedom from shame's grip, as in Romans chapter 10 verse 11. Whoever believes on Him will not be put to shame. Christ is the foundation of dignity and honor, as in 1 Peter chapter 2 verse 6. He who believes on Him will by no means be put to shame. 7. Experiencing restoration today. If you are carrying the weight of reproach, shame, or the feeling of being less than, come before God and lay it all at His feet. Believe that the God who saw Rachel and removed her reproach sees you too. He is ready to bring life and purpose to the barren places of your life and restore your dignity. May you experience the freedom and joy of knowing that God has taken away your reproach.